Yanking my chain on that, I don't know. Boy, like I said, trying to remember what I forgot to remember in the last, I don't know, 18. When we started coming back out, you don't realize how you do what you do so long that you just assume and take it for granted in some cases in terms of doing what we do on stage even. We came back out a couple of months, like I said, we've been out doing live shows again. And I'll tell you, it was a little strange the first couple of times after just stopping, you know, like that for all those months, after all the years of never stopping. And I would sit there in the kitchen some days and just stare at the floor and wonder if it was ever gonna go back to anything that was recognizable. And I was kind of lamenting everything. I would think about this song that I wrote a long, long time ago, long before I even had a hint of a record deal. I wrote this, and I was driving air freight for a living during the day. And I wrote it about this. There was a music store there in LA called Betnam's Music, and I'd go in there to look at guitars and you know, stuff that I couldn't afford to buy. I mean, you know, then there was a little old guy named Saul Betnam that owned it. Sweethearted man. He was a foreign musician. And he still pulled his sax out. If he saw you ever playing guitar, or, you know, testing something out, he'd come over that saxophone, wanting to play with you. What are you playing there? I said, well, I'm doing Bill Monroe stuff. He said, but go ahead and play that again. I said, I don't know if sax is going to work with it. But he said, no, play. So you had to, whatever. Saul will give you a deal if you play sax. Let him play sax with you for a little bit. But I bought stuff in there over, you know, a couple of years. And I had a couple of PA cabinets that I bought for him one time. He had a deal with musicians. He said, look, I know this is, you know, it's a bunch of money I'm asking for this and that. He said, but if you get in a hard way, he said, you can bring it back to me. He said, I'll give you a loan on it. He said, I'll take it back, you know, hold it for 60, 90, 120 days or whatever he would do. And, you know, I was getting hired, you know, a lot, because it was the end of the Urban Cowboy period. I'd get hired and then I'd get fired. Because they think they want me, you know. I'd say, well, what do you do? I said, well, we do hard country. And they'd say, oh yeah, that's what we want. And I said, okay. We'd be in there a couple of weeks and I'd show up and they'd say, the owner might pull me and say, you know, I think maybe we're looking for a little softer country than what you're doing. I said, oh. And some nights the band would be pulling into the parking lot and they might see me carrying those PA cabinets back out to my El Camino to load them in. And they just kind of look at me and go, did they blow up? And I said, no, it's just that, you know, our reputation preceded us here. And he's rather looking that we don't play tonight. He's looking for something a little softer. And the softest thing we could do is not play, is what he decided. So I would take my PA cabinets back. And Saul took them back from me a couple of times. Like I say, he's a good-hearted guy. And I ended up owning those till, okay, I don't think I had to sell anything of mine currently last year, right? I didn't, no. Okay. I just want to make sure that this last year and a half, that nobody sold anything that I didn't. So, in any event, Saul was that guy, and I was sitting there in that kitchen thinking about, you know, I guess being woe is me at times. We all had that, I think, over the last year and a half or so. And by the way, it's a blessing that we all have come through it. Everybody here tonight, as I said, stay safe, remain safe, but we can all be sane and smart about stuff and not have to be, I don't think, have to be locked up. But anyway, and yeah, well, I'm sitting there thinking about all that stuff, thinking about this song, and I thought about the chorus, and I thought, well, that chorus sure did turn out to be a premonition about everything, didn't it? Because of, you know, I was thinking, well, that's, you know, all those years, this is not the premonition of this. But the chorus turned out to be kind of, because I'd look across that beautiful wife of mine, that little baby on her lap, and I'd think, well, you know what? Nothing else really matters, does it? And I think